Steve here with ICRPG behind the DM screen. If you are a content creator making stuff for ICRPG, D&D, Pathfinder, or really any other role-playing platform, including homebrew, I'm about to introduce you to an artist that you have to know. If you want maps, you can do those, characters, world building, you name it, he does it. Watch the interview, like and subscribe. Screen, and we are here today with a good friend of mine, Travis Hanson. He is the creator of Life of the Party and artist extraordinaire, and also a fellow RPGer. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me.
So you and I go way, way back. I was looking over my notes, and we actually go back 10 years. I think the first time I commissioned you was in 2013.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for those who don't know your history, give us a little short history of your relationship with RPGs in general.
I've been playing games since 84 and or 82, around there, 82, 84. I was about 13 and had the red box, colored my own dice. And then I've been a professional fantasy illustrator and comic creator since about 94. And I've done Bean, I've done a lot of game work, and Life of the Party, which seems to be my biggest and funnest adventure right now.
Well, when did you specifically get the idea for Life of the Party? Did it just start with an idea for a single cartoon, or how did that come about?
It started with an idea for a single cartoon, and then it just kind of grew. Life of the Party was kind of almost a mistake in its own way. I was just kind of feeling down. I just had a game project go south, and I'm like, you know what, I got to do something. So I drew a quick little comic, and I wanted to see what would happen. This was about 6 years ago, and posted it. And next thing I know, it had like 6,000 likes and 3,000 shares, and it was just huge. And I was like, okay, let's try this again. So the next day I posted another one, and same thing happened. I had, just a huge amount. So I kept going, and now 1,730 comics later, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just gives me a chance to have fun.
I remember talking with you about that because I think we were in the middle of a project for Portals of Pangea at the time. Yeah, I remember when it first started gaining traction. You were like, "Oh boy!"
Well, and then we did a couple Kickstarters, and they went through the roof, and that just kind of, you're just like, how do I control this? And at the same time, you're like, I got to enjoy it.
Now, how many books are there now? And they're available on Amazon, is that right?
Oh yeah, they're available on Amazon, and there are 8 books that are available. And then I just released a coloring book last week, and I'm releasing a new book probably this week or next.
So this channel, of course, is related to ICRPG, which is a relative newcomer to the RPG scene. It's something that I've kind of just gotten into. But one of the things I really like about it is very third-party friendly. Hank, the originator of it, if you watch that interview, he almost welcomes piracy and people just doing third-party creations for it. He's just all about the fun of the game. So there are a lot of people that are now kind of looking into building campaigns for it and all that kind of stuff. What could you tell people working on the ICRPG platform as far as services that you offer to content creators?
Because I guess the big focus would be is just to kind of get out there and do it. So the one thing I like about when you're doing homebrew and some of that is it's creating a system that's fun and engaging. For me, homebrew is creating an environment and a story that's different than what's already out there. Building your own monsters that match whatever your game might be, and allowing you to make it engaging for your players. Now, if you're creating homebrew material, make it look good. In fact, some of the best homebrew stuff actually looks better than some of the stuff that's actually been published. If you're gonna homebrew material, I would say it's important that you homebrew a world or an environment. Just build it, let it grow on its own, and try not to reinvent the wheel. Just engage it. And I think that's where creators sometimes has a problem with it, is they either try to make it exactly like what they're used to and they just change names a little bit, or they go way off the deep end. And it's like you want to reel it in. So you got to find that happy medium. Most DMs, they just want to have give me a piece of artwork and let me stat it myself. Let me figure it out. And so I guess that's the beauty of homebrew. The only big issue is you run into different generational gaps of players.
Sure.
Older school players are more homebrew based. Sometimes a lot of the younger ones, as they're just starting, want it all laid out for them.
Yeah, I would say that ICRPG definitely brings in a lot of old school folks, and so there's a lot of homebrew, a lot of encouragement of that for sure. Sure.
I look at this younger generation that is getting into the game. They enjoy the way the game is designed for them. It fits their personalities. Whereas for me, the game was designed for me when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And so each generation gets a chance to enjoy the game, which is really rare for any kind of system, to have generations of different players. And I think one of the cool things about it is it allows the game to stay alive. Two, it reinforces the fact that every table is unique. So how I play at my table is going to be completely different than how you play at yours, Steve. And what rules and games that you set up. And I going back, I played some horrible games.
Haven't we all?
But then I played some great ones. It's just what makes the game fun is who's at your table and how engaged you choose to be in the game. In 20 years from now, when you and I are dead, in 20 years from now, though, those same novice players or new players are going to be the veterans, and the game system's going to change on them, and they're going to deal with the exact same thing that all the veterans are dealing with right now, of going, well, the game's changing, I don't like it, or the game is this or whatever. And it's like, well, wait a second. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, and the game was new and exciting for me because I'd never seen it before. And I think that's the unique thing of being able to bring older and younger players together, to try different things out, different settings.
Back to kind of your artwork on the RPG side, do you have any favorite component that you like to work on? Are you a character guy, a map guy? Is there anyone that
No,
you like?
I just like to build. Doesn't matter what, if it's a character, a monster. I like it to be cohesive. I want the system to function.
Yeah.
So when I design maps, I'm designing it for the game with characters in mind already, with monsters in mind. I want to create something that's a cohesive unit instead of just bits and pieces.
One of the things that I've said this to you before on a few occasions, I've always appreciated you as an artist because you have this way of getting into the mindset of your client. You've worked with me on countless, and I'm sure some annoying more than others projects. But you have that ability to just kind of be like, take the creator's, vision and put it into reality. And I think that's what I would, personally love to kind of convey to the audience about you, having worked with you for so many years.
Thank you. Yeah, it's understanding your audience and your client and how to make it all work and function together, and then know when to step back and let the client make their own decisions, and whether you agree or disagree with them, that's important. But I mean, it's just, there's so much out there and so much to do, and I find that as I get older, I want to focus more and more on some of my own personal projects too. I mean, I would love to see LOTP become a game. I mean, it has that definite vibe to it. I just have to have the right system for it, and I'm not there yet. But I'm world building right now as we talk. As I post new strips every day.
If somebody were to commission you, let's say somebody is creating something for ICRPG or whatever, what should a client know or be prepared for beforehand, before they,
Well,
or what?
the important thing is I think, to value the artist or value the art. Pay for what you want. I found in the gaming community, unfortunately, there's a lot of mentality that, oh, I'm going to get this cheap, and TSR was one of the big issues with that. They didn't pay the artist hardly anything, and royalties were non-existent and such. And so I would say be willing to pay for the artwork, pay the value of the artist, the creator.
Sure.
Um, because if you're willing to pay for that, that artist is going to put more into it. If you're looking at commissioning these new game artists and stuff, or these game creators, and they want to commission, I would say, yeah, pay the artist a decent value, because you're hoping to make money off of their art.
Sure.
And if you give them a low rate, but you're making tons of money off their art, that's not fair to that creator that helped you build that image. So, take care of those creators. The other thing is make sure that you've done your homework a little bit on your system. Know what you want to put into it. Discuss how much freedom you want to give them. I have one client that, as I do monster manuals for them, they give me a lot of freedom. I get to actually help build the monsters. So I design it and build with it. And so they get my imagination to go with it. And I think that's pretty amazing opportunity for me and the client to work together. But they like it so much that they keep giving me more monster manuals to do. So I don't complain. Keep an open dialogue with the creator. A lot of times that doesn't happen, and he's like, well, I haven't heard from you for weeks and stuff, and I'm guilty of that. There's some moments that I've got it, because if we get busy, and just remember that artist is not your sole artist. That artist is working other jobs. They're not always on call 24/7, as much as we would love that creator to be. The other thing is don't ever go to an artist. This is the worst. Is, oh, this will be quick, because you don't know how long that's going to take that artist to do a job.
Yep.
And what you think is quick is not always quick, especially when you want realism, or you want mechanics, or you want, that artist has got to do research. So there is no such thing. So when someone else tells me that it's going to be quick, I roll my eyes every single time, and I say, no, it's going to be what it'll be. And then the last thing is, and this is, if you want to get into an artist's skin, go, can you draw it like so-and-so style?
Yeah.
And I've been asked that. Can you draw it like Larry Elmore? Can you draw like this, or can you draw like that? And my issue is no. I draw like Travis Hanson.
Yeah, so thinking back to when I found you, I was scrolling through just galleries and galleries on DeviantArt, and I came across, I tried to find it for this video. If I find it, I'll post it here. But it was a picture of, I think it was a little kid with almost like a dinosaur, like a brontosaurus, and it was at night, and they were near a pond.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
There's something in the way that just the feel of it. You've got a certain like precision, but also a warmth, and it's a friendliness to it, but a seriousness. And I know a lot of your influences like Calvin and Hobbes and things like that. But for me, that's exactly why I hired you, was your style. Back to the RPG side, when you do get to play an RPG, which is, I'm sure, pretty rare for you, what character do you like to play?
I always liked playing an elf. I was always a wood elf. I like rogues. I'm now moving more towards wanting to play like paladins. I kind of like the paladin class. Maybe it's just because my personality is changing a little bit.
That's fair. And I kind of have this question that I always ask people on an interview with the RPGs.
Uh-huh.
Your favorite game night snack?
Sour Patch Kids.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So if people want to commission you, or they want to buy your stuff, where do I send them?
Just send them to Beanleaf Press. That's the best place. If you want to commission me, you can commission me under Hire Trav. If it's more for game art, you can always email me at thanson@beanleafpress.com, and we can just chat and figure out what your needs are. So that would be probably the best way to capture me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I know you've got a pretty packed schedule. You said you're leaving for this to Seattle Con, right?
Uh-huh.
What are some of the bigger cons that you're already booked for this year?
Well, I am booked for Phoenix. I am booked for Ontario. I'm booked for WonderCon, the Seattle Emerald City. I am booked for San Diego, which I'll be at this year. I am also booked for Salt Lake City, and then I am booked for the last show would be on my schedule is Dragon.
Okay, perfect. So you're coming to Atlanta again.
I am. I like Atlanta. It's my only East Coast show.
I know it. So if you hear that, if you're on the East Coast and can make it to Dragon Con in Atlanta, go ahead and pay a visit to Trav for sure. So is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience?
I just enjoy the game and playing it. I mean,
Mhm.
I personally see a renaissance happening in gaming if people will allow it. And Joe, I always like looking to see what's new, what's coming down the pipelines. I like seeing what new games people create. And so, my encouragement is just get out there and do it. Just build systems, build them functional though. A lot of times people build the system so complex. If it's going to take me 3 hours to learn a game, that's a little too much for me. I'm getting to that point where give me 15 minutes or 20 minutes to build something and then let's jump into it, and make the system easy enough that I can play it without having to do, take at least 2 high math courses and a linear algebra course. So,
Yeah, it sounds like actually you were tailor made for ICRPG.
yeah, there's a whole bunch out there, and I think people should just jump into it, just enjoy it and have fun with it.
Yeah. This has been an interview with artist Travis Hanson. Check out his work at beanleafpress.com or Life of the Party. I'll put links below. Thanks again for watching, and may your dice always roll with advantage.